Okay, so I just realised that diff is a bad name to call things in MATLAB or Octave because that's one of the already defined functions, so we might just call that xdiff. That should help things. The next thing that we need to do is change the while loop so that it stops iterating when the difference between solutions gets small enough. Now we need a value for small enough, so I'll create a variable called toll for tolerance, and I'll set it to what I consider to be a small value, 1 by 10 to the negative 4. Okay, we need to keep iterating until the difference between solutions gets smaller than this. So while our difference is still bigger than this small value, we'll keep iterating, and once the difference gets equal to this small value or smaller than the small value, it'll stop iterating. Okay, this, oops, that's xdiff, of course. Okay, the one problem with this is that we haven't set up the value with xdiff outside of our loop, so if we press calculate now, we'll get an error message saying xdiff is undefined, and it very helpfully tells us exactly where it first found it. Okay, so as for all while loops, we need to set up something that we can test before we start the while command. So we need to set xdiff up so that it's bigger than the tolerance initially, otherwise it'll never go into the while loop at all. So there's many different ways of doing this. I will just set up xdiff to be equal to twice the tolerance. I could have set it to be equal to xsol or the largest value that MATLAB can calculate, or anything. It just needs to be bigger than the tolerance so that it'll at least go and do this iteration once. Once it's inside the loop, it sets up xdiff to something sensible, but the problem is, to start with, you've only got one single guess, so you can't say what's the difference between this guess and the previous guess. Okay, now pressing calculate, and the solution should progress until the difference between solutions is less than 1 by 10 to the negative 4. So okay, the difference was at first 0.25, then 0.01, and both of which are bigger than the tolerance, and then finally the difference between solutions got as low as 3 by 10 to the negative 5, and the iteration stopped.